I'm Tony Ruiz of Gold Derby here with Jay Duplass, who stars in The Chair on Netflix. And Jay, when you think about Bill, Bill is kind of just like this, in many ways, kind of like a walking disaster, in the best sense.
Yeah.
And what do you see in him? What do you see as, like, seeing through all that stuff? Who is he at the heart of, underneath all the damage that he carries around?
That's a good question. I think Bill is just a guy looking for a family, honestly. I mean, I guess that includes some of the damage, but at the heart of it, he is, he's a lover and he's a good family guy. And, his wife has died recently. His daughter just left for college. He's an orphan, I guess, in a way. And I think that's what he's looking for with Ji-yoon. And what I thought was so cool about what Amanda Peet wrote is it's just so realistic that, if you're going to try and woo a middle-aged person and they have a kid, you're going to have to woo that kid as well. So it's almost like you're almost like dating the family as opposed to just one person. So I thought that was like both honest and interesting and romantic in a sort of, I guess I'm a middle-aged guy, so it felt romantic to me as well too, that he really took the time with her kid.
Amanda Peet, who's one of the creators of the show, and this kind of stemmed from her. When this journey to this, it wasn't originally this concept, I believe, in the beginning. How did it kind of evolve to become not just a story about these characters, but also to set it in the concept of the college?
Well, I think that originally, this sort of evolved from the fact that Amanda Peet and I had worked on a television show together called Togetherness, which I actually created, wrote, and directed with my brother. And we just had the best time with Amanda. And it was, I think for her, being an industry veteran, it was kind of a breakthrough experience for her working the way that my brother and I working in a very improvisational way and also kindness. And we both knew that when Togetherness ended, that we still had unfinished business to work together. Amanda and I are kind of obsessed with each other. And we were trying to create a project for Amanda and I to act in together. And that's how this sort of started, as like a movie that we were going to make and act in together. And the more that she wrote it, the bigger and bigger it got. And the more that it began to include, elements of cancel culture. And then it moved on to campus, which really is, I think, like the incubator or the leading edge of like Western civilization is like, university life, for better or worse. And eventually, it just became a series, and Amanda realized she, wanted to just be behind the camera because it had become so big. And then we both got obsessed with the fact that it needed to be Sandra Oh who was going to play that part. And so like Bill did in the show, Amanda and I took Sandra to lunch and, professed our undying love to her. And she said yes.
The thing that I love about the show, and you bring up the whole kind of university life and the cancel culture thing, this show could have easily, come down hard on one side or the other. And what I think is so interesting about it is it does thread a needle in terms of, free speech, but also the power and the consequences of speech. Yeah. Was that something that you all talked about? I mean, even from an acting perspective, I imagine you and Amanda and the writers had a lot of say in, or had a lot of discussion around that.
Yeah, definitely. It was something that we talked about before the writing, during the shooting, and in editorial as well. Just, we wanted to ride a fine line. I mean, to be honest, we are all middle-aged Gen Xers who made the show. So we hope that the younger generations feel well represented enough. Obviously, it's mostly more from our perspective, just because that's who we are. But, I was really impressed with Amanda's, ability to toe the line. We tested it on a lot of people just to make sure people were feeling like it was as even as possible. You're never going to satisfy everybody, but one of the cool things that Amanda did that just blew me away is like when we were out in 7-degree weather and shooting these long takes in Pittsburgh, Amanda was going to each extra who were the kids on campus and directing them individually. Like she was saying things like, this is how you feel about it. Like, you really like this guy, but he messed up, or you're actually on his side. He makes sense to you. Or this guy is literally the end, is creating all the problems that you're dealing with in your life right now. And she talked individually to all the younger people who were on the show, and they each had a unique perspective. So even when you have a quote unquote mob scene, everyone kind of has a different take on it. And I just thought it was such a smart way to go. And it obviously takes a lot more time and effort to do that. But, she and Dan, our director, put a lot of extra time into really just trying to make the show as honest as possible.
Am I wrong in saying that I feel like with this character in particular, you got a chance to really do some physical comedy?
Oh yeah.
The pratfalls are just worth their weight in gold. Please tell me you did some of those yourself, and please tell me they were fun.
I did everything except for flying over the handlebars of a bird scooter. But I did, like ride the bird scooter very fast, throughout the streets, sidewalks, moving back and forth. It was a blast. I mean, honestly, everybody's like, oh my God, this character is so complicated. It must have been really hard to work him up. I was like, no, it was super easy because he was really well written and he's just super fun and a giant mess. And I don't know, it just felt amazing. And honestly, like, we shot this in January of this year, 2021. So we had all been on lockdown for like a year. And it was scary to go shoot it. We shot this in peak COVID in the middle of the winter in Pittsburgh. And even though it was terrifying, like we were all so pent up and hadn't done anything for so long. We were just so excited to get out into the world. And in a weird way, I feel like Amanda Peet like deputized me as an actor to insert fun and life into the show. As a character, for better and worse, in terms of like taking risks and, messing some shit up for sure. But it was nice too, because I feel like she kind of deputized me in real life to do that, as well as like to like get on a plane, go to Pittsburgh in this very scary time and, make a really cool piece of art. And, the fact that we even just finished it is a miracle to me. The fact that I'm talking to you about it and we're being considered for awards consideration is just like, that to me is miraculous, considering how hard it was to make the show.
Did that sense of freedom, like, yay, we're free and we can actually do this and make an attempt to do that, did that bleed over into the atmosphere on the set? Because you've got like, you and Sandra Oh, but you also got like Bob Balaban and Holland Taylor and David Morse. And I mean, that group.
Oh, that group is insane. Every time I walked into a room to act with these people, all I could think was, I can't believe I'm sitting here right now, much less acting with these people and making this show. Everyone really got it and understood it. And I feel like, we did not have a lot of time. I mean, we were doing like 3 and 4 takes tops usually. But we all fully understood what we were there to do. Amanda was incredible at communicating this tone, which I think was like, we're making a straight up dramatic show, but we want it to be as funny as it can possibly be. But we have to be real and we have to, we want it to be as funny as we can without breaking that reality. But, she wrote it so well that all we had to do was fully commit. Like, I didn't feel like I needed to try to be funny. I just needed to be desperately in love and desperate for these things that I wanted, and sometimes fall down. A lot of times fall down. Yeah.
And don't forget peeing in an airport parking lot. You also had to do that.
Absolutely. Yes, which may or may not have been sanctioned by the airport. I'll just say it that way.
Yeah,
May or
nobody's
may not have been real pee. May or may not have been captured in 35 seconds without other people knowing.
Did when you come on a project like this, purely as an actor, does the producer, director, writer part of your brain, do you put that aside so you can fully serve the creative vision, or does that come with you?
It's mostly what the director wants. On this project, actually, I'm a creative consultant, so I did work with Amanda on the scripts quite a bit. But I do I will help out as much as people want me to help out. If they just want me to be an actor, I'm happy to do that too. Like, that's super easy. My brother has this funny thing that he says where being a showrunner is like being the mother of a child and raising that child to fruition, and being an actor is like being the drunk uncle who shows up at Christmas with Oreos and wins the day, So acting is really fun. But I definitely, was very involved with the script process, and, a lot of the crew are my my crew people from, all the stuff that we make.
Did the fact that you're playing an academic, because people have this vision of academics, particularly at these kind of like prestige Ivy League schools, did that kind of play a role in how you wanted to build him, or did you kind of just put that aside and focus more on like, the desperation and the pain of this guy?
I just focused on the desperation and the pain, and the and also the fact that he runs counter to, standard academic procedure as far as he knows. He does have some hangups and some blind spots as one would. But yeah, Amanda really wanted him to be anathema to the whole system to a point. And so I tried my best to do that, but I went to like Catholic prep schools growing up my whole life. I didn't go to an Ivy League, but most of the people that I graduated with did. And I was super happy that I did not make that choice. That's just not my style, but I do know enough about it to know, what a pressure cooker that world is, and how much pressure they put on themselves as well. So
I look at a character like this, and then I think about your character from Transparent, and I think to myself, I wonder if Jay ever wants to just play somebody who has their shit together.
I don't know. People don't seem to want to cast me in that kind of role. I'm thinking about the thing that I'm playing right now, and it's a different kind of fuck up, but he's definitely a fuck up. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've played any people with their shit together. I have.
Does that make the job easier to when you have like a flaw, or not even necessarily a flaw, but something that the character is missing? Does that make it easier to latch onto?
I don't know. I don't really know what makes things easy to play or not. I have this weird thing that when I read a script, my whole body either vibrates to it and just is like, I have to do this. I must do this. Or I'm just like, I don't understand this whatsoever. I can think of 5 other actors that would crush this in a second, so that's what's weird to me. So I have like a weird, very specific connection to roles. And I think it's just reading the script and being connected to the character. And it's also like having like that other person who says like, you're the person to do this. I need you. I don't know why, but you have to come and do this. When people say that, usually like my ears perk up and I'm like, okay, let's do this.
So I'm just going to say, Sandra Oh, go.
Sandra Oh, shit. She's the sharpest knife in the drawer. I think I may have learned more from her than any other actor I've ever worked with. so prepared, so professional, fun, but a killer. She's a killer. Like Killing Eve, good casting. Like she is a killer. She shows up and like shit is ready to go down. And, you know, honestly, like I was saying, at peak COVID in the middle of a horrible winter that they had, like we needed that. We needed like, you know, the people at the top of the show to just be like rip roaring, ready to go. And so it was just, I don't know, it was a blast. We had a lot of fun together. You know, we were up there for 2.5 months and she was pretty much the only person I could hang out with. So we hung out a ton on the weekends. I mean, we were the only pod that we really had. Even the other actors were coming and going. You know, she and I were the only ones who were there the whole time. So I don't know. She's just really, she's what you think she is. She's really fun and funny and smart and adorable and fun to be around. And everybody should be jealous of me getting to make a show with her.
I always like to ask a question that I think nobody would ever ask, but maybe you have been asked. But that final scene, you know, it's that long shot of you two just sitting on the bench, and you said it was I think it was one of the coldest winters that Pittsburgh had ever had. At that point, I mean, what are you guys talking about? You and Sandra Oh, are you still in character during that, or are you just, you know, talking about random stuff during that long pull-out shot?
Oh, once they go to credits,
Yeah.
I think we're still in character, just flirting, just passively, just secret. I think we were just fucking with each other and flirting the whole time. Yeah, I remember it very well. We didn't do a ton of takes of that. It like we had shot most of the show at that point, and we were feeling all those things, you know, and also we had gotten really close, and it was like sad to leave, you know, at that time. But yeah, I mean, I think we're just messing with each other the way that the characters did. And I don't know, I guess when you kind of have that history, and we, you know, we definitely, she and I worked a lot together in terms of creating a history between Bill and Ji-yoon, because they were work husband and work wife for, you know, 20 years or so. So we had to build that. I don't know. I just felt like we could have talked forever, you know, and we kind of did, until Amanda was just like, okay, shut up, we're going again.
You know, the season kind of ends with Bill saying that he's going to fight for his job, even though it's probably going to be an uphill fight. Do you know where you guys are in terms of a potential season 2?
Well, we're hopeful. You know, there are a lot of things that have to be figured out to determine whether that can actually happen or not. It was originally designed as a limited series, but many people tweet at me every day to say, when the hell is season 2 coming out? I'm like, we just released season 1. It just came out. We're working on it. I'm hopeful to do it. It would be a blast. And I have a lot of ideas that I would, you know, love to see come together. So fingers crossed.
Welcome to streaming world, where it's like, oh, you just dropped everything. More.
Yeah, literally. That is exactly what it's like.
Well, Jay, thank you so much. It's just a show. I just love it.
Oh, thanks, Tony.
Everybody go to goldderby.com, make your predictions for the upcoming Golden Globes and SAGs and the Oscars, and stay tuned for interviews with more contenders throughout the season. Jay Duplass, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tony. I appreciate it.